Chapter 139. Anon, isn't it time you started eating something other than that? Just give me what I want, you bastard. I'm busy right now, so just leave a coin here and take what you need. Anon tossed a coin into an empty can placed next to the fruit boxes and picked up 2 lemons. He put one in his pocket and began eating the other one like any ordinary fruit. Watching him do this, the young shop owner scrunched up his nose. I have always been curious about how you could possibly eat that so casually. Do you want to stop doing business here? To be honest, after 5 generations, I wouldn't mind quitting if I could. After this cold reply, the young man moved all the fruit boxes and turned around to wipe the sweat off his brow. But judging by the fact that you're still here, do you need something else? I'm curious if anything unusual is happening around here. Nothing much today. You must know about what happened in Apeto yesterday. The shop owner nonchalantly responded to Enon's question, then suddenly let out a small sigh. Ah, speaking of Apeto, there is one thing that comes to mind. What is it? It's not much, but you know the cavalry that recently delivered a huge blow to the Apeto house? The cavalry? That's right, the cavalry. They are looking to hire some people. The shop owner laughed softly at his mistake, took off his hat, and sat down on the small chair in front of the stall. What's so interesting about hiring servants? Well, they are not hiring servants per se, they are looking for a physician and a pharmacist. Anon, who had been expressionless, showed a slight change in his eyes at those words. A physician and a pharmacist. Quite unusual, isn't it? The young fruit shop owner's mouth curled up in a satisfied smile. The local doctors and pharmacies have already heard the rumors. It's a place set up by the Duke of Paleta, so naturally people assumed that they would only use the highest grade holy water for treatment from the temple. So, why do you think they are looking for a physician and a pharmacist? After chewing and swallowing the last bit of the lemon, Anon licked his lips. I'm not sure, but it does sound intriguing. So, are they offering good pay? Why? Are you interested, Anon? Despite his mocking tone, the young man didn't really expect Anon to show any positive interest. Therefore, when Anon, who had been thoughtfully chewing on his lemon, nodded in his head, the young man was taken aback enough to nearly slide off his chair. Really? Yes, so tell me where to apply. No joke, you're serious. It's not like you're short of money, right? Noisy, are you? I asked where I should go. Wow, there really is a first time for everything. The flustered young man, getting to his feet, informed him that there was an inn nearby where several members of the Paleta Knights were staying long term. He suggested Anon could apply there. Instead of a verbal response, Anon flicked another coin from his pocket towards the young man. Take it, I'm off. Yes, do take care. Watching the young man smiling cheerfully, as if nothing had happened, Anon clicked his tongue and strolled leisurely towards the inn he'd been directed to. Along the way, he noticed people talking about the incident that had occurred at the Apeto clan's place the previous day. Given the festive period, it was truly a remarkable situation, yet Anon understood their excitement. After all, the scandal of one of the 4 ancient ducal houses, tracing back to the founding of the empire, had been made public. What could be more thrilling? For a while now, the Apeto house had been conducting cruel experiments they should not have, using the Awakeners. Fearful that the Duke of Paleta and the cavalry would discover the truth, they hid the test subjects deep within their estate's forest. However, this act ironically led to an accident unveiling their secret. The exact cause of the accident remained undisclosed, but given that the Duke of Paleta announced that some of the awakeners who were undergoing experimentation had vanished, most people suspected that the missing ones had sparked the incident. What everyone found most intriguing was the fact that, as a result of the accident, Beltrail, the elder priest who had been overseeing the research, went mad. Furthermore, several assistants and servants who had been under his command perished. The Duke of Apeto naturally wished to question him about the incident, but since the cavalry and the Duke of Paleta were first on the scene, preserving the site and summoning the imperial security forces, he was unable to do so. News of the incident spread like wildfire. The emperor, foreseeing a potential conflict between the two dukes, had placed security forces on the standby just outside the mansion. Who could have predicted such an event? There were credible rumors suggesting that even this was a divine arrangement for revealing the unjust incident. After calmly investigating the scene, Kishirla Or, Duke of Peleta, freed the detained awakeners and accused elder priest Beltrail from the temple. Beltrail, who had lost his mind, could not defend himself, but no one offered him help. The temple, recognizing the gravity of the situation, expelled Beltrail from his position as elder priest within a day and announced that they would investigate the ripple effects. The Apeto house claimed that Beltrail alone had committed all the deeds. However, as soon as the incident became widely known, they announced they would close the doors of the mansion and refrain from going outside for a while. No one believed their words at face value. Kishir did not slacken the noose he had thrown around the neck of the Apeto house. He immediately sent an open request to the emperor for the cavalry to investigate the incident. His sweeping proclamation promising not to miss a single detail, where Beltrail had collected the awakeners to be studied, how many people were involved in his research, had the people at peak excitement. According to imperial law, nobles too were to be punished for their crimes, but in reality, such events seldom occurred. However, this time, the one to investigate them would be the cavalry, led by the emperor's brother, Duke of Peleta. Everyone believed this was the perfect opportunity to deliver a significant blow to the Apeto house, which had been at odds with the emperor. To obscure fact that the cavalry had the authority to investigate and punish any incidents related to the awakeners was etched into everyone's mind due to this incident. Now, no one cared about the previously intriguing incident concerning the third son of the Apeto house. Enon walked past the visibly excited crowd. He halted his steps in front of a dilapidated two-story inn on the verge of collapse. The giants sleep. Enon, it's been a while, someone greeted. The middle-aged man, who had been sitting on the table trimming vegetables, lit up with a welcoming expression as soon as he saw Enon. What brings you here? I have nothing more to say about the guest you asked about before. Enon has visited him a while back, asking about the people who had stayed at the giant sleep before taking the cavalry test. 2 people had lodged there before heading to the test, but the owner only remembered a handsome man with flamboyant red hair. It took him a while to remember the pale man with black hair who was with him, and even then he could only vaguely recall his existence. Enon paid little attention to the owner's apologetic face and glanced towards the staircase leading to the second floor, where the guest rooms were. He promptly broached the subject at hand. Never mind that. I heard the Knights of Peleta are staying here. Where are they? Oh, the ones who were interviewing all day for a physician and a pharmacist? The owner's face brightened up even more at the familiar topic. They are still here. They have been taking turns guarding room there. I asked them this morning if they knew anything about the incident in the Apeto yesterday, but they seemed clueless. Did you come here because you're curious about that, Enon? No, not really. Anon left the talkative owner behind, who was keen on discussing the recent event in Apeto, and promptly climbed the stairs. Eh? Then why are you here? You're not here for the interview, surely? The voice of the owner tilting his head in confusion as he considered that unlikely possibility no longer reached Anon's ears. What filled his mind was the face of a man who had visited him not long ago, shaking up his monotonous life with a substantial ripple. Even after deciding to write off the man who casually claimed to have come back from the future as a madman, something about him continued to nag at Anon. Despite the fact that nothing seemed remarkable about his origin, the dormant power within him was mind-boggling, a fact that stirred Anon. He hadn't felt this way in a long time. Well, strange man, I'll see for myself whether you really reversed time or not. Anon briskly opened the door to the room where the Knights of Paleta were staying and entered, dismissing the idea that someone else might be chosen from his mind. At that moment, Yudhir was sitting in the cavalry commander's office, quietly extending his gloveless hand. Each time, Kishir, wearing the holy symbol, channeled his divine power. The purplish spots spreading on the back of his hand disappeared, accompanied by a prickling pain. I'm glad I can fulfill my promise to you. Yes. Lift your head. Seeing that it didn't spread much, I can tell you have put in the effort. Despite his words, one could only wonder how many people in the world could look straight into Kishir's chilly smile. As Yudhir sighed and lifted his head slightly, Kishir smiled softly, gently gripped his fingers, inspecting the palm of his hand, then flipped it back to its original position. Good, it seems to be all cleared up. You may put your glove back on. Thank you.